I think what we need from Paris is a climate change agreement that is full, it's fair and it's effective. And when I say full, I mean it has to involve everyone, all countries big and small. It has to be fair, it's got to particularly compensate countries that have done least to cause climate change but are suffering most from it, the developing countries. And it has to be effective in that it's got to run properly, it's got to actually work, it's got to involve people, and we've got to be ambitious and we've got to be honest.
I would like to find out from the Paris talks how they're going to sustain the message of we can all do our bit. It's very difficult to sustain that message when you've got such big emitters, such from the oil and gas fields or from the deliberate fires in Indonesia or from military action. So how are the Paris talks going to keep individuals committed? I'd also like to understand where the industry are involved in these discussions. The industry are the ones who have to do their bit, not just government. So where are the industry?
I would like to see the Paris Summit achieve the regulation of governance and how we get this stuff done, how the regulation gets looked at. I would like to see the financial flows underpin everything that's done towards addressing climate change.
Firstly, I'd like to see a realisation that the developed world must provide a mechanism to fund sustainable development in the areas of the globe which are still have massive poverty. They've got a right to develop. We can't put the ladders up behind us. At the same time, if we want them to do it in a way which is sustainable, which is not increasing the amount of atmospheric CO2, they can't afford to do it. We've got to do it. We've got to step up and show we're going to do that.
The one thing I hope to get out of the UN conference in Paris is that delegates are able to put aside the blame game of who is or who has caused climate change and accept that we do all need to make sacrifices to protect those who are most vulnerable.
I'd also like to understand what the Paris talks are doing about committing governments beyond their own term. So when the subsequent government comes in, they are committed to these actions as well, and they cannot just change them just because they're a new government.
I would like to see global leaders realising that the socio-economic models that we've pursued since the Industrial Revolution, which have got us to this comfortable lifestyle that we all have in the developed world, is no longer sustainable. The planet has reached well over its capacity to support this. There needs to be a realisation that we can't, the models that exist that have got us here are not capable of getting us to where we need to be.
Once we have a fair and legally binding target in place, I would like to see all countries put in place the necessary mechanisms to address their territorial emissions, as well as ensure sustainable resource use so that we can also address consumption emissions across the world. We need to look after this planet we find ourselves on. There is no silver bullet. We're going to need technology developments, consumer awareness, and of course strong leadership to address climate change across the world.
The way I see Paris is a bit like it's a wake-up call for us. That, you know, we'd like to have a little bit more time to lie in bed in the morning, but we need that wake-up call to say, get up, it's time to get something done.